before we go, I mean, I do want to go back to what was, of course, the worst period that I remember for India in a very, very long time, and a lot worse for you. It was about 2 years ago when you were on the show, and it was just in the depths of COVID, and you had just lost your father. And I wondered before we close if you could just tell us how you're doing, and also maybe a word or two on this book that you just wrote about that time in your life.
Thank you for asking, Ian. It's sort of a strange thing to go from being the chronicler of a story to becoming the sort of protagonist and becoming the story that you've been reporting. And in some ways, I traveled across India during the pandemic, and we had a shutdown of public transport, and so I had to do it by road. And we're a big country, and I traveled from the north to the south, and then not just did reports, but wrote a book basis that. And then, yes, in the middle of all that, I lost my father to COVID. It's been personally a very, very painful time, and professionally, ironically, some of my best work. And to reconcile that is quite a difficult thing to do emotionally. Sometimes you feel haunted by guilt. You feel like you could have done more for your father instead of more for the story. And I know it shouldn't be a choice at all, and it wasn't. But I was, I flew back to Delhi as soon as I heard. But you have all that guilt that children have about their parents. And so, well, I live with it by hunkering down and working even harder. I don't know any other way to do it. My father's ashes are in a rose plant at the back of my house in a little garden, and I like to feel he's there and he approves of what I'm doing. My book is based on the people behind the headlines. I thought that there was a lot of data that was thrown around the world during the pandemic. So many million, this dashboard America, dashboard India. But what happened to those people? What happened to children who died? What happened to, single parents? What happened to graveyard keepers? What happened to those who had to burn the bodies? What happened to hope and despair coexisting? So it's called Humans of COVID. It's about literally the people of the pandemic, and I hope you get a chance to read it, as do your viewers.